Welcome to Darkside Shorts and today's episode, the Battle of Bamber Bridge. The US Armed Forces were segregated until President Harry Truman issued Executive Order 9981 on July 26, 1948, which desegregated all the military service branches. But that segregation during World War II helped create the conditions for the Battle of Bamber Bridge. US forces sent to Britain during World War II, including black soldiers, were met with respect and often open arms by the local population. Villages and towns across Britain by this point of the war had more than got used to hosting soldiers, sailors and airmen from every corner of the globe with a wide variety of skin colours and beliefs. The village of Bamber Bridge, Lancashire, was one such village, located near the city of Preston in northeast England. Bamber Bridge was then home to the US Army Air Base 569. The 1511th Quartermaster Truck Regiment, a logistic unit stationed at the base, consisted mainly of black soldiers, along with the all-white 234th US Military Police Unit stationed at the other end of the village. The two units were already known to have had several skirmishes before the battle took place. The cause was simple. Black soldiers socialised with local British residents and hung out in the local establishments and pubs freely. Britain during this period was no racial utopia by any means, but it must have been a nightmare for some of the men of the 234th Military Police, more used to the segregationist ways of the Deep South. Many men of the 234th Military Police were not amused when British barmaids told them they had to wait their turn to be served, rather than being served before black soldiers. Several days before the battle started during the summer of 1943, some good old boy officers from the military police demanded one pub implement segregation, and the owner agreed. Now, if you know the people of the British Isles, we can be right pedantic arseholes when we want to be. You see, the military police officers had not told the pub's owner exactly how to segregate the pub. When the officers and MPs came back the next day, they got greeted by some signage telling them they weren't welcome. Various establishments and pubs in the village had all put up blacks-only signs. The people of Bamber Bridge weren't taking instructions from Hitler, and they certainly were not taking instructions from a bunch of dime store General Lees. By June 24th, the situation boiled over. MPs tried to arrest a black soldier called Eugene Nunn at the Ye Old Hob Inn, but an argument broke out between the military police versus the black servicemen of the logistics unit. That quickly drew in serving British soldiers and the local population, including armed Home Guard troops, air raid wardens and British auxiliary service women. One British soldier, just trying to enjoy his drink, challenged the MPs by saying, "Why do you want to arrest them? They're not doing anything or bothering anybody." The military police at this point, outnumbered as the crowd continued to grow, backed down and left. Unfortunately, one Private Adams threw a bottle at them as they drove away in a jeep. Now, like all men with a little man complex and the justification they needed, they ran to the senior officers of the 234th. Once a stern talking to by the group's commanding officers had been dished out, they were ordered to arrest the black servicemen. Locals be damned, and they didn't care how. The MPs returned with reinforcements and plenty of weapons, ambushing the black servicemen, along with 3 British service women as they returned to base. This time, without any British troops, armed Home Guard forces, a mob of British servicewomen, or locals to support them. During the ensuing fight, the MPs started shooting, hitting a Private Crosland in the back as the black servicemen and British servicewomen scattered. Pure blind luck meant none of the British servicewomen were injured or killed. A situation that was already spiralling out of control could have been so much worse. The men of the 1511th finally had had enough. Warning the locals and British servicemen and women to take shelter, approximately 200 or more servicemen armed themselves. Now, what happened next is fuzzy, due to wartime censorship, lost records, and some accounts contradicting each other, but the basics are as follows. British police reported American MPs in the area blocked roads and set up ambushes, creating kill zones with machine guns. They also turned up at the 1511th camp with a truck and attempted to force entry, being met with gunfire. The black servicemen in return defended their camp, while some others launched a counter-attack on the MP's camp and attempted to destroy military vehicles. Both sides seemingly used trucks and jeeps as ad hoc armoured cars, mounting machine guns on them in an attempt to win the fight. Bamber Bridge itself was the centre of intense street fighting. Police and military reinforcements were soon rushing to the village to put an end to the chaos. The Battle of Bamber Bridge lasted from around midnight until at least 3 o'clock in the following morning. Rifle, pistol and machine gun fire was exchanged in anger on British soil, while knives, clubs, bricks and even rocks were apparently used at various points. 2 of the military police were seriously injured. Amongst the black troops, Private Crosland was killed and several others seriously injured. By some miracle, none of the local population suffered serious injuries or killed before order was restored. 2 trials followed, resulting in 27 out of 32 black soldiers being found guilty of various charges. None of the military police were brought up on any charges. Then something happened. The British public were outraged. The locals in Bamber Bridge refused to segregate the local businesses and pubs. As news of the disaster spread across Britain more widely, the sentiment only grew. Some, in a position of influence, sensing the way the wind was blowing, saw to it most of the sentences against the black servicemen were reduced or dismissed. The leadership of the 8th Air Force placed the blame for the incident mainly on the military police, listing several key factors, amongst them terrible leadership, terrible decision-making, a terrible attitude to the locals, and ample use of racial slurs. To prevent similar incidents happening again, trucking units were combined into a single special command. The ranks of that command were purged of inexperienced or racist officers, and MP patrols were racially integrated. Morale amongst black troops stationed in England improved, and the number of court-martials fell. Although there were several more racial incidents between British, black, and white American troops in Britain during the war, none was on the scale of Bamber Bridge. The Battle of Bamber Bridge was one of several instances during World War II where racial tensions and clashes erupted between American soldiers on foreign soil. 2 other famous examples include the Battle of Brisbane between American soldiers and Australian forces, and the Battle of Manor Street in New Zealand between American servicemen and New Zealand servicemen and civilians. In June 2022, a memorial garden commemorating the battle was created opposite the pub where the Battle of Bamber Bridge started. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.